Welcome to Getting Mental with Dr. Dean. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share these videos. This is episode number 3, and it is part 2 of managing your anxiety. Welcome to Getting Mental with Dr. Dean. This is episode 3. Last week, we went over episode 2, and it was part 1 of managing your anxiety, where we explored the different shovel thoughts and how those different shovel thoughts would elicit feeling anxious. This week, we're going to go over the different ladder thoughts to help counteract those shovel thoughts. So this is part 2 of managing your anxiety. Let's get started. Some disclaimers. Please remember these, that this is for information and educational purposes only. This is not health or mental health advice. This does not constitute a client or counselor or therapist relationship. If you find yourself in a mental health crisis, please call 988-911 or go to your nearest emergency room. Welcome to part 2 of managing your anxiety. Consider this also as an introduction to ladder thoughts that help counteract the shovel thoughts. So there are 3 different ways to implement and build a ladder thought, and the acronym DEW or DO will help you remember the options. The D in DO is for dissecting method of building ladder thoughts. And for when we dissect the shovel thought, we break it down and analyze each part of it. The E is for evaluate the value method, and there we ask ourselves if the shovel thought is going to help us in any way. And the W is for the weigh the facts component, where we look at facts, not opinions, to see if the shovel thought has any merit or any support, which we will get into here momentarily. So with the dissecting ladder thoughts, we want to use this method and write down a ladder thought that is directly related to the shovel thought and strong enough to overcome it. For example, that's strong enough to help us climb out of the hole and or climb over the barrier. In this process, we dissect and break down the shovel thought piece by piece and challenge each aspect of the thought. So taking our time, breaking it down piece by piece, every aspect of the thought as much as possible. And we also want to look at for solution-focused components. That solution-focused approach, if possible, can be very helpful. The evaluate the value ladder thoughts. For this one, we want to use the aspect of questioning and seeing if there's any value in maintaining our focus on the shovel thoughts. So we might ask ourselves, how is thinking this way or feeling this way going to help anything? If thinking or feeling a certain way is not going to get things resolved, then it may not be in my best interest to continue thinking or feeling that way. Other questions to ask ourselves may include, what is the cost of thinking and feeling this way? And when we look at the cost, we want to look at the emotional, physical, relational, and any other component, any cost. But also we want to look at the payout. What's the reward? What do I get out of it for thinking and feeling this way? By asking ourselves these questions, we are evaluating if there's any positive value in our thoughts and emotional reactions. The weight focused ladder thoughts, one way to use this method is to weigh the facts and explore what is more accurate. What facts, not opinions, support this thought, and what facts, not opinions, do not support this thought. We want to explore and weigh the facts that support the thought versus those that do not support the thoughts. And remember, opinions are like armpits. Everyone has 2 and they usually stink. So we want to focus on facts. So let's look at some examples from part 1 of managing your anxiety, some of the shovel thoughts, and let's see if we can apply some ladder thoughts to counteract them. Example of an and then shovel thought was, I'm going to be late for work and then my boss is going to give me the speech, and then I'm going to get written up, and that write up is going to negatively impact me when I go up for promotion. So we want to replace that shovel thought with ladder thoughts. For example, the dissecting and evaluate the value strategies for ladder thought development. And that would look like, just because I'm late for work does not mean that all of those other things are going to happen. Most times, no one is paying attention, and if they are, no one usually cares. Even if I do get written up, it does not define who I am as an employee and if it will interfere with the promotion. Getting upset about being late won't help me. I will put more effort into getting to work on time to reduce the chances of being late from happening in the future. For the here we go again, or this always happens shovel thought from part one, the example was, last time I interviewed for a job, they never called me back. I might as well not even go. We want to replace this with a ladder thought. Just because I did not get the job last time I interviewed, it does not mean that I will not get one this time. Even if I don't get this one, I can always go and apply other places and keep going until I get a job. Also, more experience with interviews can only be helpful. We may also find ourselves thinking with these shovel thoughts when we are assuming that someone else is going to act a certain way, but we will get more into that next time. Now, remember the body message type of shovel thoughts? We're going to look at an example from part one. I feel my chest is tightening up. That's that physiological sensation. So I have the thought I must be having a panic attack, and then I'm feeling really anxious. And we talked about last time how that can reinforce itself over and over, that reinforcing cycle. So a ladder thought to counteract this would look something like, I feel my chest tightening up, but it could be anything that is causing this sensation. It could be indigestion, fatigue, or who knows what. I'm not having a panic attack because I'm not thinking anxious thoughts, and therefore have not been feeling anxious. If I keep entertaining this idea that I'm having a panic attack, then I will have one, and that is not what I want. Instead, I'm going to do some slow breathing exercises to help relax my body. The what if shovel thoughts, very common, and we find that, or I should say, I find that the metaphor of a coin, or the what if coin as I call it, it can be very helpful. So on one side of that what if coin is the negative outcomes that can occur. However, on the other side of the what if coin is a positive or neutral outcome. And this what if coin can be used in different situations. In this case, what if I fail, whatever it is, and if the other side would say, what if I pass? So the what if shovel thought examples from part one was, what if I fail the test? What if I die? What if they die? What if I get fired? And the other side of that coin would say, for each one of these, what if I pass the test, right? What if I live? What if they live? What if I get promoted? What if I keep my job? Whatever the case may be, right? So there's many different components to this what if coin aspect. So how often have let's go with I failed the test, right? I want to ask myself, how often have I failed the test? I might say at most 10 times in my life. And then I'll ask, how often have I passed the test? Probably 500 times or more in my life have I passed a test. When I do the math, 10 divided by 510, I get an answer that indicates I have failed less than 2% of tests in my life. So most of the time, the vast majority of the time, the positive side of that what if coin comes up. Given these numbers, I would realize that expending my energy on negative shovel thoughts about failing the test would not be in my best interest. Instead, I would realize that there is a significant probability, not just a possibility, but a significant probability that I will pass my test. We want to focus on probabilities, not possibilities. Now you have a better understanding of ladder thought building processes and how to begin developing them. Next time we will explore behaviors we can engage in to help manage anxiety. Thank you for watching and listening. Until next time. Y'all take care.